Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So I've had a lot of people in the comments ask for my revert story. Now I can't really give you my revert story without giving my whole life story, but I'll try my best. My story will have two main ideas: Tawheed, which means the oneness of God, and Shirk, which is polytheism or idol worship. My mother is from India and a devout Hindu, though we do have a few Muslims in the family, namely my aunt. Growing up, when I was about 3 years old, my mother introduced me to religion. As you know, Hindus have many deities, and the first two I learned of were Ganesh and Buddha. They would serve as the most influential to me growing up. My upbringing was not a conventional Hindu upbringing, though. My father was a white American, but he was not a Christian. He was a Hindu convert. As a child, he had many spiritual experiences with various Hindu deities. Keep in mind, he was an American child in the South, raised in a very Christian household. He had no idea of what India was or the names of these mysterious beings were. All he knew at the time was that they could protect him and they were not devils, as what Christians believed. After meeting my mother, he learned of Hindu beliefs and culture and converted long before I was born. My upbringing, for this reason, was not a regular Hindu one and incorporated many religious ideas. For example, my father gave me ancient Egyptian Shabbatis and told me they could help me in the afterlife. When I was 10, I went on a trip to Hawaii and brought back a tiki statue of the Polynesian deity Ku, full name Kuka Ilimoku, meaning Ku the Island Eater, or Kunue Akea, meaning Ku the Supreme One. I prayed to these deities as well as the regular Hindu pantheon of Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Parvati/Kali, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. I had many erroneous thoughts and beliefs about God and the nature of the divine. To us, these statues were sacred and God lived inside them. At least that's what I believed growing up. I even viewed books or any written knowledge as sacred and having the goddess Saraswati living inside of them, so I worshipped them as well. I lived most of my life believing these things out of ignorance. My father had a bad experience with Christianity, and I was told all about the problems, logic fails, and corruption of the church. I was regularly discriminated against by Christians for my beliefs, but I didn't care that much growing up. My cousins had been on pilgrimage to Mecca and had told me many of their stories and experiences. When I was in high school, our marching band went on a long trip. We stopped at a college bookstore and there I came face to face with the Holy Quran. I wanted to buy it but was fearful of being judged by the other students, so I didn't. Later I downloaded an ebook of an English translation on my phone. However, I was not ready for God's message, firm in my idol-worshipping beliefs, and did not listen to God's message. I went to college and had a very bad experience. It was only a matter of time before I became suicidal and wanted to end my life. I desperately tried praying to the many deities and idols, but they were useless. Eventually I realized that they were merely objects and had no connection to the divine. God didn't and couldn't speak through the idols, and my blind faith and devotion to material objects didn't help me come closer to God. I began to question everything I had believed before. I needed to unlearn what I had learned. Finally, I was ready. In the hospital after a suicide attempt, I read the Gospels and learned of Christ's teachings. I looked into Christianity for a small period, but still felt suicidal. I planned on ending my life after getting baptized in the church. Then I found the Holy Quran again. Reading God's message transformed me. After a couple months, I had read the book completely. It was as if the Quran was healing me. Nothing else helped with my suicidal thoughts as much. A year later, I reached out to the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh and said Shahada. Unlike other religious texts I read, which I read many religious texts, the Quran spoke through me. I agreed I agreed with its arguments and logic. Its message transformed me. I still struggle with suicidal thoughts, but inshallah I shall overcome. Peace be with you.